Calling the Woodbury Select Board meeting to order 6:02 on Monday, July 27th, 2026. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
I have one. In kind of doing some studying about the town road and bridge standards, I realized that we haven't signed the 2026. So I have a copy of it here for the select board to sign this evening. And that's basically it.
And do we want to pass it around now, or do you want to do it under the road stuff?
We could do it under the road stuff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What is it exactly?
It's the town road and bridge standards. It's the certificate of compliance. It's a yearly thing now. It was my understanding that, okay, we signed it 4 or 5 years ago, we're good. But now it's kind of a yearly
Yeah,
thing.
we're just saying that we're promising to do everything the way the state tells us to.
Yes.
Okay,
Or they won't give us any such money.
yeah, well, one of the reasons that we do this is to get more money from the state.
Probably
In fact, that's probably the basic reason. That and to have good roads.
Any other adjustments to the agenda? Hearing none. Minutes from July 13 and July 21.
I don't know if you got a chance to read the ones that I just
I
sent you
did.
today.
I did actually read them.
Yeah, and,
Well, you didn't say anything beyond that. I did read them though.
oh, okay.
I'm not a very good editor, so you know if there's problems.
No,
I
but
probably
that's
wouldn't fix
okay. Yeah, but I just wondered, do you wanna,
it. I didn't see any problems with them, so.
Are you guys talking about the 21st?
We have the 21st and we have the 13th, I believe.
I would wait on approving the 21st. I saw a couple things in there that
Okay.
we should probably
Got some
discuss.
concerns on the 21st.
Okay, we'll wait that until next week, next 2 weeks. So here's one, I guess I would make a motion that we approve the minutes from the July 13th select board meeting.
All those in favor? Any discussion?
You get to vote too.
Aye.
Okay.
Wait, we motion and then we second and then we discussion and then we approve. I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Today is 7:27.
The second's to move the motion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's the minutes. Public
Here.
comment.
So,
Any comment from the public? I guess you're just here for the stuff further down the list.
No, I'm just listening to
Yeah.
everything.
Just democracy in action, or whatever they call this.
Trying to
Yeah.
understand the purpose of the exercise.
Yeah, we all are. We all are. All right, hearing no public comment, Peter and Michael.
Guess I'll start with the, I talked to a mechanic today. I know we've talked about this in the past for, the 550. I've talked to a third-party mechanic today that is willing to do an investigating on why and what made that motor go bad. And judging from everything that we've been looking at so far, everything kind of keeps still pointing towards McGee. So I didn't know if we should go ahead and have this mechanic try to figure out if it was them, and if it was, then obviously they would have to be liable for that motor.
is this someone who would be a good witness in court? Reliable witness when they get up there and talk, ask him about
I mean,
credentials and all that stuff?
He said that he knows that it would probably have to go that way if McGee wanted to take it to court, so.
Yeah.
And he said he would have to take photos and everything,
Yeah.
the work and everything that that he would do. So I don't know if that's something that you guys want to go ahead with to figure, because if that truck had a motor in it, it's worth a lot more than 7,000.
You know, there was something in this minutes that I thought was a problem and I didn't, did you send that back, please? I should have questioned it at the time and I didn't. So now it's too late. But anyways, oh, road report. Okay, here I wrote $30,000 trade-in. That's
No,
wrong.
it's 7,000
Okay, all right. All right.
is
so-
what we can get for it right now with the blown motor.
Yeah. 7,000, so I'm just gonna,
But if we could somehow prove if it was
right,
McGee's doing, I would think they would have to be reliable for.
What's he gonna charge us? Third party?
It would just be his hourly rate, which I'm not sure what that is right now at this moment. Because he's not gonna put any new parts into it. It would just be him.
Just
You know.
basically tearing it down, right?
Well, he said that at first he would start with samples of the oil, samples of the antifreeze, and start doing a little investigation before he decided to start tearing into it. You know, to see where the problem is coming from.
Right. There was a question raised about chain of custody, and do we need to get our town lawyer involved to make sure that we're not gonna lose that chain of custody for the vehicle being, just don't want any shenanigans.
you know,
Any easy outs for McGee. Would it be worth a call?
boy, I don't know, I don't think we've ever had that kind of a concern before, but I suppose if we were to go to small claims court, it would be a lot easier.
Too much money for
Yeah, I
small
would say.
claims.
What?
Too much money for a small claim.
Yeah, what's their maximum?
It used to be 5,000.
Oh,
It may be
okay.
more now.
Okay,
Could be 10, but.
thank you. Okay.
I was just asking the question to see
Yeah,
where you guys wanted to go with this.
I think it's probably a good idea if we could spend a couple hours poking around.
Could be more than 2 hours.
Well, he just said,
If he tears into the motor, it'll be more than 2 hours.
right,
but
right, but you said he would first wanna,
Take oil samples, everything like that
yeah,
to have it tested to see if there's antifreeze in the oil or see if there's exhaust in the antifreeze. Because he can find that out if exhaust was getting into the antifreeze.
what do you think?
I don't have a sense of the likelihood on any of this stuff. I mean, on one hand, it feels like it would be a good thing to do to pursue. Like, it's pretty darn suspicious. But beyond that, I don't really have.
I mean, because his work, it could be $1,000, it could be $2,000. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, for him to say this is why the motor went bad.
And then our attorney could send a letter, you know, they don't have to immediately go to court, they can
Right.
try to negotiate it. So you think, instead of 7,000, what do you think it would be worth if it was,
I mean,
of course, we'd probably have to keep it.
that truck would. I mean, with trade-in with a new motor in it, it would probably be closer to 25, 30. You know, I'm guessing. I don't know that number. That's just a wild guess. And that's a lot better than 7,000.
So it's worth a little more investigation. You haven't made a commitment on a new truck yet?
No, because
You just-
Lily was saying that we were going to wait somewhere time around until September.
Oh,
So is when she thinks that
We-
we can do it.
we don't really need it right now, right?
No, as long as we have something before winter.
Over winter,
We've got less than 0.
Mm-hmm.
We've got much less than 0 in our
Yeah,
current account right
right.
now. So, those taxes.
So if you, I mean, it's kind of a smart way to go with that would be, if you go out and you determine the value of that truck, that would would be your first step.
Mm-hmm.
How much is the truck worth?
Mm-hmm.
That's your number.
Mm-hmm.
You take that number, and then I would talk to an attorney to know what my legal stance was
Mhm.
as far as the chain of custody. What do I have to prove?
Yep.
So now I got a number, and I know the path I gotta take to do this.
Mm.
Then I would get myself lined up to say, okay, I'm gonna tear this down to prove what happened. When you get to that point, you wanna be in a position that says it's their fault, then you go after it. But if it's not their fault, then you wanna be in that position that says, okay, I'm here, it's gonna cost me X number of dollars to bring this thing back to what it's worth. And is that number worth doing?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the order that I would take a look at that.
I think we kind of already decided not to try to have it fixed.
Well, if it's worth 30, and if it costs you 20, you're 10 ahead. If it costs you 10, you're, you know, whatever that number is. But I think there's a high expectation that it's their fault.
Hmm.
And if it is, then you're in a good position.
Hmm.
The other avenue that I would take a hard look at before I even went that way is I would go directly to Ford through the marketing or customer service, and I would bring that problem up to them. And say, this is a problem that we've experienced with this truck, and this is the backlash we're getting from it.
So there's a way to get the Ford without, above McGee, without
Yeah,
going
you
through
want
the
Ford
dealer?
to be, they're not gonna help you.
Right.
If you go to Ford
Yeah.
themselves, depending on how they feel about
Mhm.
the public backlash to that thing,
Mm-hmm.
they might give you some support and
Mm.
help you get in that direction, and they may not. But that's a cheap way to go without spending any money.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because if you get into that problem, you also have this city of Leeds in town, I don't know how much they're worth to you, but, that becomes a bad blood situation where a lot of towns go out and buy these things.
Yeah.
And if they're having a problem and that gets out, then that goes against Ford and McGee, and they're not happy with that either. So, you got a few avenues, but before I just threw in the towel and said, I'm gonna take it on the chin for that kind of money, I would definitely,
Mm-hmm.
you got two routes to go.
Mm.
Could we get a number on what we think it'd be worth if it was functioning?
I can try to get a number on what it would be worth if it had a good motor in it.
Yeah.
How old is it?
It's a 2017,
For like 10 years?
yeah.
I did AI. I used ChatGPT. So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But is it high mileage?
I actually looked today and it's only got 30,000 on it, and I thought it was a lot more than that.
Yeah, so
That makes another big difference.
Yeah.
That's really low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
from AI,
Mm-hmm.
good condition with documented new engine, if we did have to get a new engine for it, 35 to 50,000. Does that
Mm-hmm.
seem comparable, seem
That's
correct?
about right.
Did they ask you what state you were calling from?
No,
Okay, I mean, to not call $5,000 for winter.
If you watch the auctions international where they sell that all the time, every day that sells, and that's the range you're gonna be in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It seems reasonable to find out what it might be worth if it were functioning before we get too far down the road, and then
Mm-hmm.
and also maybe try to bend Ford's ear because
It was, now, I don't think he knew this at the time, but when Alfie bought that truck used, he later found out that it came from Hardwick.
Yeah,
So have you ever asked them
I have not asked Hardwick
if they've
yet.
had problems with it?
I have not talked to Hardwick
Yeah.
about it.
It doesn't matter, cause that problem,
No, it doesn't matter, but it's good to know.
the
Yeah.
problem right now is the motor.
What?
The problem right now is the motor's going.
Oh, I realize
You
that.
know, and it's very rare that that motor's gonna just go in, come back out and go down.
yeah,
Mm.
especially at that mileage.
And it's making oil, so it's over the dipstick, so you know something's getting in there. So if you pull the plug and start to get antifreeze, you really know you're getting something in there.
I will say we do have $17,000 in outside services budgeted for this fiscal year. So we got a chunk of change to,
I don't think it would come close to that,
No.
to figure out what's wrong, why the motor went bad.
But if you set yourself up before you go into it, so you know, this is my number here, this is what it's gonna cost to get there, and then when you find it, then it's, which way does this swing? It's either their problem, or then it becomes your problem. And if it's your problem, and this is high enough, and your cost to rebuild it, that's the time to rebuild it, you would rebuild it, so you could capitalize on the end money. Either way, that's where you want to come out. That's your target number, is what you can get out of it. That answers all your questions, in my opinion, for whatever that's worth. But I would heavily go after Ford before I left it to McGee.
So that means calling our attorney and asking him what he thinks.
All you want.
Cause we're not gonna, I mean, I'm not, you, no.
What do you say?
Huh?
The only thing you want out of an attorney is to know the custody, how it, so you wanna know how you handle that, so if you, whoever takes that apart, you wanna know that that's gonna qualify and it's done in a manner that will qualify to document what you're trying to do. That's what you want, so you know the steps to follow.
So what was the number to have the motor repaired, Peter?
It was, they gave us a quote for 15,000.
12 to 15, yeah. And that was for McGee?
Yes,
No.
Was that just the motor or installed?
that was installed.
See, that scares me too, because that's low.
I mean, that is a low number to put a brand new motor in.
So why? That would be my question.
I guess my question is, should I hold off or should I have the mechanic look into it?
I think we would need to hold off because if we want to make sure that we don't misstep when we go if we go to open it up. We don't want to like poison the well, so to speak.
Right.
If we go to open it up, I think it sounds like it'd be worth trying to find out what it would be worth if it were running, and then we can decide. Then we can start down that road potentially of opening it up. But it sounds like it might be worth making sure we don't misstep when we do that. If we did want to go after McGee,
Right.
or try to hold them accountable, if that's what we were to find, we don't want to go and destroy the evidence, so to speak.
And because I just keep thinking of winter's coming and we should have something before winter.
Yeah.
So,
It takes us so long to do anything.
But the amount that we would get in trade-in is not it's not.
right, because that's why I was saying the 7,000 isn't worth it ain't worth very much.
Yeah, and if it's gonna be like, if we say if it was 15 to get it running again, then that means we've gotta clear 22 to come out ahead.
Right,
And if it's worth, so it's like, if we think we could get more than that, then it's kind of, and those numbers actually hold, which I doubt, of course. But it doesn't seem like it would be, if the number that we might be able to get is high enough, then it's kind of like, then we might as well go ahead and go down that road. Because even if it's us paying for it, if we end up getting 30 for it, we'd come out ahead with a 15 replacement. But that goes back to, do those numbers hold?
right.
There's a lot of other doors that will open as you go to. It's, you may want to trade that toward the product that you're trying to finally get to, or if it becomes their problem, they may want to settle by trading out into the vehicle that you want, so you can capitalize that way.
Oh. Where is the truck now?
At the town garage.
Oh, okay.
because they called me and said that they were gonna start charging us for storage
Oh,
for it down there.
Now, that was Hardwick or
That was
Montpelier's?
ID.
Oh, I never went to Hardwick, okay.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it went to Hardwick, okay.
It went there for 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So see if we can get a little bit better idea of what it might be worth running.
Okay. I'll see if I can come up with those numbers. And then I've been working on Logtown Road, putting ditches in, and I gotta change 2 culverts on it. And I was hoping to finish that job this week, and I was gonna start on the Foster Hill project, which would finish out the Wilbur Road grant. But then Michael informed me today that the Valley Lake project should start on August 10th. So that wouldn't leave me very much time for doing the Foster Hill one, so in the meantime, I might switch gears to,
So you
Doing
have
something
to,
else.
so you have to work on this Valley Lake Road?
when the grant that we have to do on Valley Lake covers from
Oh, okay.
out here to above, top of the hill above your house.
What time, oh, so when's the contractor starting? Is that the
Well,
10th?
I spoke with the Alliance this morning, and they're set to start the project on August 10th.
Okay,
And they're estimating that it'll take 2.5 to 3 weeks. It'll be a little bit longer than usual because they have to deal with the retaining wall where the garage is. Kind of, they're anticipating it's gonna be kind of tricky right there. So, yeah, so that's their plan. And I have some questions for the select board about that plan. And I can ask you those now if you'd like, or we could
well, let
stick.
Peter finish with
Yeah.
his list.
Well, I was trying to coordinate it so I'd be working on our stretch of the grant the same time that they're doing the bridge work, because the road will be closed at that point, so.
Yep.
Oh, but,
It would make it easier for us to be able to get our work done at that point. So from now
Okay.
until August 10th, I don't think I'd have enough time to do the Foster Hill project, so I'm thinking about swapping them. Doing the Valley Lake one first and then the Foster Hill after. And in the meantime, from now until August 10th, I'd be working on something else.
is it ever done that a private citizen would allow a piece of his property to be used as a bypass?
I don't know.
You ever heard of that?
No. You mean if somebody would allow the traffic to go through
Right.
through their property
Yeah, for a price,
for a price?
of course.
I guess that would be up to that landowner.
I don't know if it's even legal, but
I don't know if it would be.
It's illegal if they want to do it.
Yeah, you go down and make whatever arrangement you want
yeah,
on your own behalf
yeah, that's
between you and
true.
them.
Okay, yeah, okay, first.
Depends how far you gotta go.
Yeah.
And I also have to fix the concrete slab for our salt shed. It's been breaking for several years. In the last couple of years, we've been getting chunks of concrete in the salt when we go to put it in
Oh.
the truck
Oh,
because it's falling apart.
that bad.
So I was thinking that maybe in the meantime, as long as I'm caught up on grading, that I might be able to work on that project of fixing that concrete slab.
So what does that mean? You gotta just rip it out and,
I would rent concrete saw and cut out all the broken concrete and start over.
is there a lot of salt in the way or?
There's
Mostly gone.
one truckload of salt in there. I'd have to put that on our spare truck
Yeah,
and park it inside so it doesn't get wet. Because there's, I have to get the salt out of there to be able to do that
Right.
project. So I was thinking maybe in the meantime of me waiting to be able to do that grant, I might try to fix that concrete slab. So we're not getting bits of concrete in our sanders.
so you still have grading that you wanna catch up on?
I have some grading I gotta do, yes.
About this one out here?
Yeah, so this one out here.
You never catch up with grading.
No, no.
It's a never ending. done one and start all over again.
And I don't think I'll get much grading done this week, cause it's supposed to rain every single day.
Yeah,
So, I don't think I'll get much grading done this week.
Yeah.
This week probably will be mostly hauling sand.
oh, so you guys still working 2 days a week, or? Dana and
Lewis is only working,
Lewis is?
yes. Dana is not working right now because he is enjoying going on vacation to Maine. So, he probably won't be working for the rest of the summer.
Oh,
He's enjoying his retirement.
Yeah.
He's supposed to.
yeah, I've heard of that.
Purpose of the exit.
I think that's pretty much for me, not unless you guys have any questions.
So you're thinking that you would be doing this ditch work up here at the same time that they're doing, ripping apart that one?
Yes. Being that the road would be closed, it would make it a lot easier on
But for the
us.
people who live on the road, they're still gonna have access?
Yeah, we're not gonna block the road,
Okay,
but it's still gonna be impassable down here.
right. Mm-hmm, okay.
Yeah, it makes sense for them to do that, cause there are a number of culverts that'll need to be replaced.
Yeah, and with the less traffic, it'll be
Sure.
it'll make it a lot
Right.
easier on us.
Okay, that makes sense.
What are the dates on that again?
So the start date is August 10th, and they're anticipating 2.5 to 3 weeks, which could lead, I don't know when school starts. Usually it's the end of August sometime. But that's something that I need to figure out. That's some of the questions I have about this project. I know in the contract, we did kind of ask that they be done before school started.
We asked.
So shall I continue with that? Do you want to?
Please.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, so I am wondering, obviously we need to contact the school. I also want to make sure, I had kind of offered the school parking lot as a place for them to park equipment and other materials that they might.
Staging, yeah.
So it is town-owned property, but I thought it would be good for me to contact the school and just let them know and sort of try to be a polite neighbor and get their okay on that. And hopefully at the same time I can find out when school starts, so I
Yeah.
can let the
Wow.
contractor know.
Now, the school does have permission to use that driveway across the road
Right.
where they park their bus, so.
Yeah,
New staff orientation 17th through the 19th.
okay.
School begins August 26th,
Ouch, yeah. Okay,
which is a Wednesday. Okay,
yeah,
Practicing.
I guess.
yeah. So, yeah, so we'll have to work around some complications with school starting.
Professional development from staff starts on the 20th. So
Okay.
basically, staff start on the 20th, outside of orientation,
Yeah.
and then the students start on the 26th.
Okay, so let me write this down. So,
Professional development happens there at the school?
I don't know. I was just looking at
Okay.
OSSU's calendar.
and then, John, you said school officially starts on?
26th.
26th.
Wednesday, the 26th of August.
Okay, I just wanna let the contractor know this stuff. Okay, so that's school. And Nate Seacard is the project manager, so,
Okay,
he'll be overseeing this.
but you'll be keeping an eye on it?
I'm the town contact.
Oh, good,
I mean,
okay,
I-
great.
I can keep an eye on it, but,
I mean,
I have no expertise to know.
yeah, but
whether
if they
or
have questions or something, you can,
Right, if they have town questions, I figure I'm the town contact and we'll deal with.
There's also, it's a fire auxiliary land, but there's that lane next to the food shelf.
Mhm.
That might be, I'm just thinking of where could be things be staged.
Okay,
That might be something that you,
yeah, the
Talk to
food
Robin
pantry's
about.
only open one day a month.
yeah.
know.
Well, plus one evening a month.
yeah, I guess I
Even
should
then-
probably let the food pantry
They do
know,
have
too.
deliveries and stuff sometimes, once
Yeah.
a month.
But that lane extends back to the
To the rink,
rink,
and- yeah,
so that might
Okay.
be an option that you could look into as
Mhm.
well.
okay.
It wouldn't
Yeah.
clog up the,
should I contact the folks that live on the road to let them know that this, I could put a thing in front porch for them, or I could go just door to door?
It's just Darren and Badgers and Penny Allen and me.
Yeah,
I mean, they'll, you know,
okay,
they're more further up, but they'll learn. Yeah, probably a good idea to put it just general
yeah,
for the people who are even up beyond.
yeah. Yeah, no, we'll definitely put out notices letting people know that it'll be closed. It will be closed.
Thank you.
So, should we put up detour signs and stuff like that?
We could
Okay.
detour them up over Wheeler,
Yeah. Wheeler,
and then Dog Pond.
yeah. Okay.
I mean, people who come, yeah, there aren't 2 or 3 people who will be coming that way anyways. They'll quickly learn.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that use that road for like a cutover
Yeah,
cross town road.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh,
not insignificant. I think detours would probably be a.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll end up with someone following their GPS and
oh gosh,
stuck,
yeah.
and then
Mhm.
freaking out over it.
Mm-hmm.
Show up with a big RV behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to turn around in my driveway.
No, it's happened. I was
Oh, yeah.
we were out. I think I was out running, and somebody was going up that north end of County Road
Mhm.
between whatever it is, that goes
County
down to
Road
14.
Extension?
Yeah,
Now,
and they,
would it be our responsibility to put the detour signs up, or because I know a lot of times contractors do it?
Hmm.
I don't know the answer to that question, but do we have detour signs?
I don't know. I would have to
Right.
look because
I
normally
mean-
we don't.
We could
do.
I could make some pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You guys had some stakes to drive in the ground or something.
We probably have some.
I can look and see if we have some.
worth talking to the contractor about.
Okay, I can ask that.
Hmm.
Yeah, the contractor's blocking the road, aren't they legally supposed to have MOT,
What?
mediation of traffic? And then minimum, that's signs, sometimes that's flyers, sometimes it's,
Yeah, that's why I wasn't sure if it was a contractor that would
Yeah,
be
well-
liable for the detour.
Mhm.
What does the contract say?
I don't know what the contract
I've never
says.
seen the contract.
Mm.
It's probably at the town office somewhere, but
Mm.
I'll ask that question for the contractor.
I
Or
mean, where
pull the
would you put
contract
one
and
up,
see what it
up at
says.
the,
What's that,
Or
John?
pull the contract and see what it says. There'll probably be a clause
Well,
in there.
They normally do.
does anybody know where the contract actually is?
Gotta be in the,
it's gotta be
Oh.
involved.
Okay,
Is it really a job happening?
well, there is a job happening, but,
how long ago did this start?
well,
Long time
you guys
ago.
opened the bids and awarded the contract. So,
In an envelope somewhere.
and RFP, I don't know, Nate put that together.
Mhm.
What is the contract name? What is it under?
with the lines.
Valley-
Highway, or Valley Lake Road?
Valley Lake Road Culvert Project. I can't remember the actual state number for it, but I could get that information to you.
I think this should be enough for me to start poking
Yeah,
around.
okay.
Mm.
An alliance was a word, and then there was an RFP that Nate put together. I do have a copy of that. So,
Okay, I'll look into it.
okay, and I'll look at that RFP. Okay, so I'll do my best to let town people know and find out about the detours, put a thing on Front Porch Forum. I'll probably put one out kind of soon so that there's forewarning, and then another one as we get closer. It's just a
Yeah.
couple weeks away.
Really, it's coming right up.
And I'll get in touch with the school. And then if they're still working on it when school starts, maybe we should talk to that property owner if they wouldn't mind school buses. Because I have a feeling I know who you were talking about when you mentioned that.
You what? You have,
I have a feeling
oh, okay, you know.
who you were talking about previously. In fact, I'll speak with him myself and see he would be willing to allow that if we need that.
Right, even if the teachers had to park downtown, how would they get here?
Well, they could get to the parking lot, you know, by using the detour signs. They would just won't be able to drive off Route 14 to do that.
Oh, they'd have to come,
It's not gonna
come in
affect-
from, yeah,
Yeah, it's not going to affect.
long ways.
But it might make it easier for the school buses to be able to do
Mhm.
that little
Mhm.
hop, skip, and a jump,
Mhm.
and the teachers, for that matter. And maybe parents bringing their children.
Oh, yeah, there's
But
a lot of those.
so it does sound like they'll have the bulk of it done beforehand, so it'll hopefully be less than a week of inconvenience if school it starts before they're done. Okay, I think that's my list of things to do for that. Yeah, and I'll contact the school, get a sense of whether or not we can use some of the parking lot. I could probably check with Robin about, you know, using that lane. And I'll
Are you
check
using what?
the lane that the auxiliary owns that past the food pantry towards
Oh,
the skating
Yeah,
rink. And that they could park a fair amount of equipment there. And I'll let Carol know, so she can anticipate some chaos.
Does anyone know what day of the month they do distributions?
It's a Wednesday, but I don't know which.
no, it's a
Is it
Saturday.
a Saturday? Okay,
It's a
they do
Saturday,
something
but-
else on a Wednesday too.
They do a Saturday morning and then the Wednesday the following week for people who can't get there on Saturday.
Okay,
So,
it probably is posted in. You can find it on your phone.
let me
It's
see
posted
my
on the-
town report. I don't have my town, oh my God, I don't have
It's
a town
posted on the
report.
door. I know that.
Anybody have a town report on it?
Third Saturday,
Third Saturday. Okay.
Wednesday
Thank you.
evening. Let's see, so let me just pull this up. So this is.
So
from
they'll still be
Woodbury
working.
Beach, you gotta work.
They'll still be
Third
working on the
Saturday,
project.
9 to noon.
Third Saturday, 9 to noon, and the following Wednesday, 5 to 6:30.
Okay. It'll probably still be ongoing.
Yep. And
'Cause the-
third Saturday would be like right in the middle, because it would be like the 14th.
Yeah,
It
the
just
first
started the
is the
15th.
first Saturday, so it'll be like the
15th.
15th. Yeah.
15th, and
Yeah, be right in the middle.
following would be the 19th.
Okay. Shall I go on with some other grants, other
Sure.
stuff like that?
Is there
Any more questions about or suggestions for what we should do to make this as smooth as possible for people in town here? No? Okay. So here is a copy of and it's pretty much just the first sheet that your signature is needed on the back. There's kind of abbreviation of the standards that comes with this form. The standards themselves are fairly lengthy. And I had started to study them, and I'll pass on my knowledge to you, and I'm sure you know it better than I do at this point, but just to make sure that we're covering our bases.
I've got a pretty good idea of what their standards are.
Yeah, it's pretty much the municipal roads general permit standards at this point. And the reason that we do this is that, you know, like the ERAF money, the emergency relief, and what's funding, anyway, whatever that's, assistance. Emergency relief and assistance funding from the state that we got for the FEMA projects, if we hadn't had a signed copy of these standards, we wouldn't have gotten the ERAF money from the state. And it also gives us a break on the V-Trans Structures grants. So instead of a 20% match, it's a 10% match. So there are benefits that come to the town. apparently that came with all the other V-Trans stuff in March, and I just missed it. So, and then I discovered it when I was looking into the standards for the road inventory work that I'm doing.
Do you want this?
Yeah, I'll
We'll
send
take
that
care of
to
that. Thank
I'll send
you.
that to V-Trans. Thanks, John. So, and then the only other information I have that's new is that the BRIC grant for Buck Lake Brook watershed finally has been successfully submitted. There was, I'll share with you the last minute drama on this. It's a good story. So the day before it had to be submitted, there was a change in what was needed. So this was sent to me Thursday afternoon. I found it Friday morning and kind of flipped out. And basically what happened was that this was a 2024 grant, and FEMA had decided at the very last minute that they weren't going to accept 2024 grants. They had to be transposed onto BRIC 2025 grants. So the person from Vermont Emergency Management probably stayed up all night doing all of that transfer work, and then sent out this email. Fortunately, Keith Coven from CVRPC was able to submit it for the town about 10 minutes before the noon deadline on that Friday. So,
Right.
And now we'll probably wait 2 years to hear whether or not we.
Yeah.
So, but it did make it. There was Lily and I tried to do it. You know, we couldn't make the FEMA Go thing work.
Oh, God.
And so, but Keith, you know, we called Keith and he said, well, you know, it still says that I can do it even though they're telling you that the town has to do it. And so he did it for us that day.
Right.
And it seemed to be okay because we didn't hear anything about it. And then there was this other kind of last minute thing.
What'll probably happen is it'll all go through and whatnot, and then after all the work's done and paid for, then they'll come back and say that the town didn't do it, this other guy
Right.
did it, and so the town needs to pay it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That feels
I mean-
about right.
And depending on who we vote for.
Yeah. The downside is that we'll be dealing with FEMA for this whole project.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. But we do have CVRPC will be our Skip Lindsay probably for that, because I certainly probably won't be. And everything else is kind of the way it has been as for the other grants. The grant that Peter is talking about, the Better Roads grant on Valley Lake Road, you know, that's one that we have been awarded, and it was anticipated that it would be done kind of in conjunction with the culvert project. So that's it from my end of the report.
Thank you. Town clerk report.
Just had our animal control officer come in today and said he's receiving numerous complaints about the dogs at the sheep shop. They are specifically a dog that's in the neighbor's yard, more so than the neighbors would appreciate.
They have neighbors? They have neighbors?
They have somebody, yeah, that's around them, so.
Yeah, there's people that live right next door to them.
Really?
Yeah,
In the trailer?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize, I thought that was pretty much abandoned. No.
No, I think so.
So, does that call go to our health officer who's not a 50 yet, or should that be handled?
No, that's a dog complaint. What,
So the animal control officer is telling us about dog complaints?
that's the end, yeah, that's what he does.
Okay.
That's what they do. I mean, it doesn't become a health hazard until some, starts, I don't know. What would
Right.
make it become a health officer thing?
Well, if they bite somebody or something.
Well, yeah.
So he would like a call to them at a minimum to say, can you keep your dogs in your own yard, please?
Yeah.
Beyond that, it's been rather quiet. Let's see, that's for zoning, that's bids, that's later. Yeah, that's about it, so let's move on to zoning. highly considering taking on the arduous task of updating our zoning ordinance. There's a grant through the state. Here's the paperwork for it. And that's, my feeling is that as a zoning administrator, we have a zoning ordinance that's 20 years old, literally, exactly 20 years old. And there's some parts of it that don't exist anymore, that don't apply. At a minimum, if we could just update that. Maybe get some clarifications on a few things. Not really looking to make it an arduous zoning ordinance, just get it up to date.
Good luck.
Yep, it's gonna be like pulling teeth. But if we can get some people involved, maybe some contractors, people who are gonna be dealing with this, get everybody on board, then everybody will feel like they're part of it, and we're gonna be in a lot better place than people in the town perceiving that the zoning, it doesn't apply to them, or it only applies to them.
What does the grant cover in terms of like, does it cover staffing?
It, basically to hire a consultant to help the town through the process.
Which would, and the consultant would use some kind of, I don't know if Regional Planning Commission has someone that does this anymore.
They might be, they could be considered a consultant, yeah. They would know what to
They
do.
would just bring you a shell of what they use for every other town and would have to strike out 90% of it.
Right. And one of the stipulations looks like that we have to have a planning commission in play so we can do this. Would the select board be willing to put out an email, not an email, a posting on Front Porch Forum for, people possibly interested in the planning commission?
I mean, right now, we basically have one person who responds to planning commission stuff.
Yeah, it's just Steve,
Jim Schweihauer.
Jim,
Yep.
and Andy are the only
Well,
ones that-
I haven't heard, I send messages to both of them. I haven't heard from Andy for a long time. I don't really know what his interest is in
Well,
staying on. So,
he hasn't quit, so.
yeah, okay. And
I
I would
call
be
him,
willing to get on the planning commission to help this process, but I wouldn't want to be the chair as I was before. I would be willing to help. I feel that, if we're gonna have, if the town wants zoning, then the zoning ordinance should be up to date and reflect the reality of this time, and also support the zoning administrator.
And if not, then the question arises, do we want the zoning ordinance? Because if it's old and it's outdated and we can't administer it properly, then the point of having it is. So we gotta figure that out. One of the things to
Well, have you found any cases where you couldn't find an answer in the zoning ordinance?
okay, so we had an instance yesterday where somebody came in and they were in the process of buying a lot that was less than an acre, it had less than 100 foot of frontage required on the lake front
Yeah.
to build a place.
Yeah. So
But
they
there
hired
was
about
an
an empty lot?
No, there was an existing place.
Oh, okay.
But so there's nothing in our literature saying that if you have something that's been there for so long, X amount, that even though it doesn't fit the requirements, you can still build on the same footprint. There's no verbiage for that. So I'm looking through it, and actually, Ron came in and I said, "Hey, Ron, what do we do?"
You put, yeah. Yeah,
So that's a for instance.
yeah, they only, no, okay.
I mean, that isn't terribly crazy.
But under the definition of development, which is, kind of the main guidance for the zoning ordinance, it does say reconstruction needs a permit. And then they can get a permit, and they might be closer to the lake than they would have been approved if it was a new lot, but,
And we have that in black and white somewhere.
the definition of development is right at the beginning of the ordinance, the definition section. That's what I used to use for that.
Development versus reconstruction.
No, the development requires a permit. Reconstruction is development, under the definition of development. And reconstruction, and I forget what the rest of it says. Subdivision is also under the definition of development.
Well, I'm in agreement with, if we have one, it ought to serve our needs, and if it doesn't serve our needs, then we should consider whether we have one. Having something that doesn't work or doesn't fit, or that seems to be just a liability and
Right.
trouble.
And
So-
one of the things that I've noticed as a clerk in all the filings I've done in land recordings is a lot of this property transfer that's going around is around our ponds.
Oh, yeah,
It's 90% of it,
yeah.
if not more.
Mhm.
So that's our asset. We are the town of lakes and ponds. So if any ordinance needs to be updated and correct, or anything that needs to be adjusted, really should be for there. In my
And
personal
they
opinion.
want, you know, and people buy camp or camp lot, and they get all excited and they're gonna do all this stuff. And we used to be able to say, well, we used to be able to say you have to show what you've got for septic system, but now we can't even say that, but you need to advise people that if they're gonna expand anything, they better
Mhm.
follow the state rules.
You know, there's always a question about campers.
What?
Campers.
Oh, that, yeah, that's that.
It should be in an ordinance. I mean, that's another
Mhm.
place in ordinance where they can and cannot be, the number, the whole rigmarole. Can they be on blocks? I mean, it would be worth a discussion at a minimum.
Yeah. Well, if you can get people talking about it, and if people decide that we don't need zoning, I mean, there's not much you can do with a lot of those camps, but people do push the limits at some point. You know, they do.
That's human nature. Oh, there's a rule, let's see if we can.
Right, right,
Well,
exactly.
that's where it's like I'd be less concerned about, like, having something that's wrong is kind of like the worst of all worlds. You know, if we don't, I mean, nothing is going to be speak to every eventuality, but having something that we disagree with is kind of the worst. If you run into that where things feel like they don't match our reality in an incorrect way, so to speak, yeah, I think I'm supportive of us trying to bring those closer together. Because I feel like having something that conflicts with what we want to do or trying to do, or you know, that just feels like it's a problem. Having something that doesn't speak to it feels like less of a problem, though not insignificant problem.
At the end of the day, I would like everybody to want a pool permit. You know, let's get people coming in here and build stuff so our tax base can go up, absolutely. But, you know, let's make the level playing field, that's all.
The application cycle typically opens on September 1,
So we got all the time.
so, and with a deadline in November.
Yeah.
So, what specific updates your town is looking to make? Which regional planning commission serves your area? Well, that's a project.
So what are you requesting today?
Can we just get if the select board agrees to put something on Front Porch Forums, putting maybe some parts of this in there and saying we're looking to possibly get this, who's interested, let's get together. Something in that nature.
Do you wanna do that, or do you want me to do that?
I would prefer if the select board did it,
Okay,
it just would be better.
Someone from CVRPC might be willing to help the town put together that grant. I know that they helped me you know, after the town plan, we put together a grant, which we didn't get awarded to us, but there was someone at CBRPC that basically, with my input, put that together for us. So, and that would be part of, you know, we pay them a certain amount every year for services. It would be something that they would probably do without. In fact, I'm pretty sure they would do it without charging us.
Wasn't there a reason why this got rejected?
Yeah, because the state was really hot on housing at that point in time, and we didn't get it because we didn't have a village center designation.
Yep.
And the planning commission had decided, you know, this village gets flooded every few years, and we really didn't meet the criteria for a village center because we didn't have a store, you know, blah blah blah.
No sewage, no water.
Yeah, so they basically, you know, you said, you know, if, and they may say that again, I don't know.
Huh.
But there was a specific reason that they, and I think it was for help with the zoning. I can't remember if it was either that or something else.
Oh, I think it was that.
I think it was that, you're right. Yep.
I mean, because finally at that point we had a plan. For
Yeah.
many years we didn't have a plan.
Yeah.
And now we gotta make sure how, so what's
We
it
have
gonna be,
8
3
years
years?
from whenever that was.
Get it done before our plan expires again. I mean, it used to be the plan would expire 5 years. I think now it's like
Now it's
8
8.
years.
Yeah. And then it would be 20 years before Woodbury would get around to,
Okay, we pay for 'em.
so.
Anything else, Graham?
That's it, thank you.
I noticed that we forgot to discuss a proposal to discontinue Town Highway 21. Is there anything we need to do there?
Oh, no, I was just thinking that, they would, might show up to the meeting, so I stuck that on there.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing to do there until he comes in with his written request.
Okay, I see. Lily.
All right. So I'm gonna go over the end of year financials report. Some suggestions on how to fix our FY26 deficit, and an update on estimated tax rate. I know Diana took a peek at it. John, did you get a chance to take a peek at it?
No, I did not.
It's a hefty one today.
Yeah, I
So-
printed it out. Afraid
So
I was
bear
gonna
with
run
me.
out of toner, but I didn't. I just kept getting these messages. Toner low.
So I'm gonna start with our end of year financial report. Graham, there's a couple copies up there for you, John. Graham, if you want one, Michael, you're more than welcome to one. Larry, if you want one.
Yeah, I've already printed it out, so.
Yeah, so starting on page 2 and 3.
I'm sorry, this says, the one that starts with negative number means unfavorable variance,
Mm-hmm.
this one?
Yeah. Diana, I would recommend if you want to follow along, probably using that guide.
Alright, whatever.
This is page numbers are at the very bottom.
I'll send
Okay,
this
bottom
to you.
right.
via
Okay,
email
great,
as well.
thank you. Yeah.
So on page 2 and 3 is our budget and actual dashboard, how we ended up in the end of the year, and our fund report, what our funds look like after some end of year changes that were made, pretty specifically the interest distribution that happened mid-July. So those numbers are going to be slightly different than what I had talked about previously. But I'll go through it all in the report. So starting off with the budget and actual, the town completed FY26 with a combined general fund and highway fund on budget. Right, we didn't overspend the total amount of expenditures that were approved and budgeted for. Just about completely, we're about $653 to where we're supposed to be, or where we expected to be. So the town kept expenditures, I'm sorry, I did not know why I I cannot get my tongue to work today. The town kept expenditures $36,037 below the budget approved at town meeting, which more than offsets the revenue deficit being $35,384 less than anticipated. When looking at our available funds, moving on to page 3, our funds report, they dropped pretty sharply from the beginning of FY26 to the end of FY26 of about $1,085,201. So this, we started at $1,431,004 cash on hand to $345,803 cash on hand. Main causes for this was the FEMA repayment, the higher than anticipated equipment costs, more specifically the truck we purchased, and the lingering effects of the FY25 tax rate being set too low. The cumulative effect is fairly significant and will definitely require financial planning going forward, which I'll get more into below.
Well, one reason why it's so high is because we were holding on to FEMA money that we never intended to use or own or have the right to.
Well, technically at the beginning of FY26, we had, I think it was $815,000 of FEMA funds, of which we used a little less than 3,000 and then returned the remaining 527,000.
You referenced setting the tax rate too low previously. How much of impact was that?
To say exactly, I've got a couple answers for you, right? So the overall, what we're seeing now is that our unassigned fund balance is at 4%, when it should be around 20% of the next fiscal year's budget. We're looking at what we actually did not bill, about $200,000 that we should have made up. That we should have.
Was this from the, was some of this or part of this from the counting the,
Delinquent tax rate,
yeah,
yeah,
as revenue?
that is correct.
Okay, and that's roughly accounted for 200?
Yeah, I think a little less, but yeah, from our recollection.
And then our payback from the FEMA was that?
104, 105,000.
Yeah. So that tax rate error was corrected in FY26, but in FY25 we've relied pretty heavily on our unassigned fund balance, right?
This is the way our tax rate was going, our municipal. This 22 was 65 cents, 23 was 71 cents, 24 was, 58 cents.
Yep.
And then back up to, so if that had gone up, 5 to 10 cents like it usually did,
Yep.
it wouldn't be so painful. Last year was somewhat painful, this year's gonna be worse.
Yep.
Any additional questions before I move on? So looking at the budget performance a little bit more in depth, the general fund, so as you'll see at the dashboard, the major change from the budget was that the town collected less revenue than budgeted for, by $54,219. So most of this was budgeted delinquent tax properties delinquent property taxes that did not materialize. So this was the primary reason that the general fund missed the budget revenue and expenditures by a deficit of $51,893. So at year end, outstanding delinquencies are a total of $83,507. And that's gonna be a little bit of tax year 2024, tax year 2025, or tax year 2025 and tax year 2026.
And that's, as you go on to talk about the distinction, that's total, education and municipal.
Yes, so, the bulk of the taxes that we raise
Yeah,
goes to the state. And
So-
we are required to pay that regardless.
yeah, so
Yeah.
of that 83, it's like 50K or probably 60K is going to education, and 20 is the town's portion, and then you've gotta make that up when we don't hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have to pay, we've already paid the state
Yeah,
portion,
okay.
the education portion.
Pay it regardless, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, we have the right to collect it as, as our money.
Yeah.
But yeah, a portion of that is, probably a very large portion is, education state delinquencies,
Yeah.
right? So moving into the highway fund, so we took in slightly more revenue than budgeted, which was great. Mainly because of some additional funding we had left over for FEMA 2024, an increase in state highway aid, and higher than anticipated Swinson reimbursement. Expenditures were slightly under budget. Expenditures were slightly under budget even though we experienced some item lines that were way over budget in FY26 in the highway fund. We had 2 repairs to our fleet that were about $10,000 over budget each. And then our insurance, our property and casualty and workers' comp insurance was significantly higher. Regardless of this, we still ended up under budget.
Is that because we're down an employee?
I wouldn't necessarily say so. I would say that certainly helped. I would say majority of the time how do I want to say this? Majority of the time we usually do come in under budget in the highway.
I guess we've only really been down an employee for a couple of months, so it hasn't made it.
So it helped, certainly. But overall, expenditures for both funds remained in line with the adopted budget. And to your point, the primary trend continues to be the undercollection of tax revenue in the general fund and the impact on the town's requirement to remit the state education, regardless of actual collections. And in the highway fund, expenditures are continuing to be below budget, suggesting a pattern of budgeting more than what is actually spent. So the net effect is that the highway fund effectively provides cash flow needed to the general fund to support operations through the year. One good example is we did do a fund transfer this year of about $20,000 to the general fund to help maintain a positive fund balance. And still, even with that additional transfer, we were coming in under budget. It is important to note that, sorry about that. The general fund and the highway fund are legally considered one single fund. Even though we operate, or even though we book them in separate funds, they are considered one large fund in the grand scheme of things. Any additional thoughts there? Oh, great. So now moving on, looking at our financial position and fund balances specifically.
It's battery dead? No, you're plugged in.
No, it's we might not be doing tax rate calculations at this meeting. Okay, I'll see how that looks later. Sorry about that. So at the close of FY26, the town had total cash on hand of $345,000, or $345,803. The general fund ended with a fund balance of $51,542, while the highway fund ended the year with a fund balance of $140,101. So our overall net position was impacted by 3 significant events during the year. As I had mentioned, the truck cost, we had anticipated it being $200,000. It was closer to $300,000, resulting in the HERF deficit. After scheduled transfers into the HERF, Swinson reimbursements, and equipment sale proceeds, that deficit is now at $36,874. As we all know, the repayment to FEMA and VEM resulted in a deficit of $104,216. I think it is important to say that FEMA and VEM gave us authorization to use excess flood recovery funds for additional mitigation projects, and then only after those projects were completed, they reversed their position and required that we pay those funds back. And then lastly, the FY25 tax rate error. As we had spoken about previously, it was resolved in FY26, but during FY25, we used a large portion. We had to rely on our unassigned fund balance to continue operations. So despite these challenges, we did not end up having to use a tax anticipation note. I still believe we will not need to use our TAN moving forward, but our overall cash on hand is an area of concern for us moving forward.
Yeah.
So, questions? Kind of moving on to the impact of that.
To what?
Moving on to the impact
Okay.
of
so
that.
okay.
If you go to page 7, or actually, for whatever I swear, one of these days I'm going to get all these papers numbered right in my report. But for whatever reason, this one did not come with a page number. But should be on page 7, which is our unassigned funds report. It goes through our total cash on hand, that $345,000, and then breaks it down into non-spendable, restricted, committed, assigned, and unassigned.
Yep.
Quick synopsis. These subsections reflect how we can use that money. Unassigned is at the discretion of the select board. Assigned means that the select board has made note that we are planning on using funds in a specific way. Committed means that we have decided, or the voters have decided, that that is where that money needs to be spent. Restricted is usually grants money, comes from external regulations.
And there are some funds that are paid for with, according to state law,
Yes,
like the listers
reappraisal.
and the reappraisal.
Yeah. So overall, we have a total unassigned fund balance of $60,463, right?
Yep.
The select board adopted an unassigned fund balance policy that establishes a target of 20% of the following fiscal year's operating budget. At that $60,000, we're approximately at 4% of the next year's operating budget, so
Close
fairly low. Fairly low.
I don't ever think we can afford to have 20% carry forward personally, but we'll see.
Well, we'll see. Exactly. The policy that you guys adopted has, a clause in there that says we will review this fund balance policy. If it's decided in 3 years that we only need 15%, that is how we'll do it. We'll change it. So unassigned fund balance provides the town with flexibility to manage cash flow between fiscal years and absorb unexpected expenses. So when this balance is significantly reduced, the town must rely more heavily on other funds, including committed funds, assigned funds, and restricted funds. While these funds may temporarily provide cash flow, they are designated for specific purposes and must ultimately be replenished to ensure those future obligations can be met. It's also important to note that the town's total cash balance includes funds that are not available for general operations, such as those restricted grant funds. So rebuilding the unassigned fund balance should also be a priority to improve our financial stability and provide flexibility for future needs. Potential options for this include postponing non-essential projects, reducing discretionary expenditures, reallocating resources, and implementing a multi-year financial recovery plan that will start in FY27, not this year. Closing thoughts. I would say that where we're at now, FY '26 kind of reflects the cumulative impact of several years in which long-term financial planning and resource management did not keep pace with the town's need. The town has consistently operated within its adopted expenditure budgets. However, staying within the budget does not by itself ensure that sufficient resources are being raised or set aside for future obligations. Over the past several years, available resources have been reduced through a combination of factors. As I mentioned, tax rate miscalculation, FEMA repayment, and the lack of a formal equipment replacement plan. So in addition, long-term planning for future maintenance needs, grant commitments, and dedicated funds has increased pressure on the town's financial resources. I'd say the town is in a position that requires attention and proactive planning. The focus moving forward should be on identifying future needs, developing realistic multi-year plans, and ensuring that the town is setting aside resources for known obligations. This will help the town rebuild its reserves, address capital and maintenance needs, and manage future costs, while hopefully managing the tax rate impact on our residents. Any questions? Sound good? Great. So the next couple of pages, all the way till page 15, is our final numbers in our budget. We've reviewed these each month. We reviewed them last meeting. So if you guys want to take a closer look at that, please feel free to do so. I don't think we need to put any more attention on it at this moment.
So you made additional changes in here based on the meeting we had last week?
Nope, I did not make any changes
Oh,
to
okay.
this one. This is our final numbers for FY
Oh,
'26.
end of the year, okay.
Mhm. So if we're ready to move forward, I'd love to discuss the deficits we have and some potential resolution plans for those deficits. We good to go?
Yep.
So we have two current outstanding debts, the HERF fund and the FEMA fund, the FEMA mitigation fund. For the HERF deficit, I would recommend just leaving that balance in place. We already have a clear plan of how we're gonna recoup that money. We have a HERF transfer that will take care of it in this next budget, or in this next fiscal year. I would say the town should pay close attention to continuing evaluating future equipment replacement needs. I think we've done a good job with that, discussing potentially replacing the F-550, and talking about what is coming after that, what piece of equipment we'll need to plan for next. For the FEMA deficit, there are two potential approaches, each with different financial impacts. Both are outlined, I'll outline both. So the first option for the FEMA repayment obligation, I would recommend using available balances and existing funds to clear out that deficit, while the resulting impact would need to be addressed through future tax revenue over multiple budget cycles. Utilizing available funds would eliminate the outstanding deficit immediately and allow future revenue to focus on rebuilding the town's unassigned fund balance. So there are 4 areas of funding that I would suggest we could use to resolve this debt. The first is the remaining FEMA 2024 funds. That's to the tune of $10,992. The town building maintenance fund has a total of $21,816. We have grant funds, I believe there's Act 27 grant funds of $10,000 that we may use. And the remaining would be taken from the highway unassigned fund balance, which would be $61,408, and that would completely wipe out our deficit. So this approach resolves the deficit, however, it does deplete completely the town building maintenance fund and significantly reduces the highway fund balance, which will need to be addressed moving forward in our next budget cycle. Any
So
questions on that plan?
town building maintenance fund is,
That would be on page 3.
okay,
Currently we have it showing $31,816. 21,000 of that is town building maintenance fund. The other 10,000 of that is the Act 27 funds.
so this, is ending balance in town building maintenance fund at the end of June 2025. Did we add to that in the,
I do not believe so. The
26.
only added amount was putting that $10,000 of grant funding in there as a holding spot for it at this point, because we were looking like we were going to be in a deficit in the general fund. I didn't want to keep those funds in there. John, any thoughts on that?
What's the time frame for this decision? Just before we set the tax rate?
I'd say before we set the tax rate. Yeah.
Well, we discussed this, was that the 21st meeting?
Mm-hmm.
That in effect, we used those funds for building maintenance and roads. So it felt like it was appropriate to do this and then address it moving
Yeah.
forward in the.
Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah, and this plan, it goes along with our cash flow assumption in our unassigned fund balance policy, which kind of outlines how we will use that money. If grant funds or if restricted funds are available, we'll use that. If committed funds are available, we'll use that. Assigned funds, so on and so forth. And so it does kind of follow that, that guideline that we set for ourselves. So moving on, there is an alternative option. The second option for addressing the FEMA deficit would be to formally claim the deficit. This would be a one-time option, which would allow the town to increase the tax rate in increments of 5% until the full deficit has been recovered. From my understanding, I believe this would look like a separate tax rate on our tax bill. So this approach, best outcome financially, right? We would completely restore the town's unassigned fund balance. We would completely restore the FEMA deficit in a single year, but it would require raising approximately $105,000 more through taxes and would result in an estimated 30% increase in the municipal tax rate, bringing it to approximately 1.022. So like I said, although this is the quickest way and maybe the financially best way for the town to recoup these funds or to deal with this deficit, it would have a very, I would assume, significant impact on our tax base. Any questions on that one? There's a lot of legality with that one.
Yeah.
If we wanted to explore it more, probably would want to cue in some of the lawyers at VLCT.
We had the money in funds to like the building maintenance and the used bill. I guess I don't see, it feels kind of punishing to the residents of Woodbury to go and say, oh, well, we have this money that we use in these other funds. And now we're gonna go and add this just so we can in effect carry a balance right now on those other funds. And yeah, we do need to be very careful about how we budget and plan. Because that seems like, as you're describing this, it seems like we're good at holding to our budget for the little things, but occasionally something big comes along and breaks our piggy bank.
Yes.
So it's not like exactly like penny wise and pound foolish, but it's more like penny wise and unforeseen circumstances foolish, so to
I
speak.
can see why the general fund, we come up sort of closer because we're so much closer to those expenditures and we have a pretty good idea what we're gonna spend on a lot of these other different things. But with the highway budget, you know,
Don't necessarily-
10,000 here, 15,000 there, and
Yeah, Yeah, and then there are these bigger projects, you know,
Yeah.
that I think we need to really chit chat about. You know, we spent some of that FEMA money on new roofs, but we had not discussed when those roofs actually needed to be replaced, or
Exactly.
what the financial plan was to start raising taxes
Right.
to replace those roofs in 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So I would recommend probably doing the first approach that I recommended. Like I said, this is going to keep the reduced fund balance, so it is important to carefully consider where we set our tax rate within the amount approved by voters. So setting the tax rate closer to the authorized amount provides additional financial capacity to address these unforeseen expenses and reduces the likelihood of creating another deficit, and allows the town to rebuild its fund balance over time. So the amount approved by voters establishes the maximum amount the town is authorized to raise through property taxes, potentially using a little bit more of that approved tax capacity while remaining below the authorized amount.
Where are you reading this from?
This is on page 18.
18, okay,
Would give us more stability and flexibility moving forward.
yeah.
In any case, kind of like John said, we just need to be careful. You know, we were not anticipating a huge deficit this year. We were told we were not see a huge deficit this year, and it happened anyways.
Alright.
So, I guess I'm not real clear on if we do option one. It feels like we need to budget a little more. Like I could be wrong, but am I correct in saying it might be worth budgeting a little bit more so we don't run into a.
Yeah,
We're really not supposed to do that.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
We can't budget more just so we have a bigger
not
balance
so,
at the end of the year.
but we have to be careful. Like one of the things we talked about with fuel, like
Yeah.
as an example,
Yeah.
like we're looking at these things, saying, well,
Right.
what's the likelihood? Well, we could look at these things and say, well, the likelihood is here, but the variance is here.
Yeah,
Maybe we should pick the higher number
yeah,
so we don't end up,
Which we
versus the
did.
one right down the
Yeah.
middle. I mean, we did on the fuel, but I'm saying like
Mm-hmm.
it feels like there's those kinds of things which could happen in lots of different spots.
I would also point out the fact that maintenance repairs on the fleet. I mean, we had two trucks that needed maintenance repair. All of a sudden, we're $20,000 over where we should be in that section.
it's a
You know, it's things like that.
crapshoot.
That's a tough nut.
Right.
Because that truck maintenance, that's all predicated on federal rules and regulations that have blended itself down into these trucks.
Yeah,
So you can go back years ago, you could buy a complete truck, let's say for $15,000.
Yeah.
But you compare that now, that you can take a truck in and have an exhaust filter come out of it. And that exhaust filter is gonna cost you $22,000 to put into that truck. And that is astronomical.
mm-hmm,
And I mean, that control is not in the town, that is federal.
no,
That is just,
Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking though, is like when we build this budget, a lot of the assumptions, like we pick a number because this is kind of the number that we expect, and we're right on a lot of them, but occasionally we're wrong, and then we're behind.
yep,
So it feels like, obviously we're trying to cut things close,
yeah.
but it feels like we're cutting them close and we're missing enough of the time that we're running behind, and we can't really afford in some ways to cut them that close.
and because our fund balance is so low at this point, it puts us at more risk.
Yeah, because
Right.
eventually we're going to be behind, and then we'll have to take out,
At
No.
tan,
and then we'll have to pay interest on that, and that's not. So it's like
it's the top
we don't want to take out, we don't want to, let's just pad the budget everywhere, but there are some things, it feels like we need to pick the higher number in the range rather than the number that's always been.
Yeah.
when you start, I mean, I don't know enough about this stuff to be intelligent, but when you start talking about this highway fund and not, that kind of scares me a little bit, because I don't think that highway fund is on target yet, now. I mean,
You
it's
think
a
it's too
lot.
low?
You mean,
Everything to do with that highway operation, to me, is up in the air. I mean, I don't know, I don't know what your plan is for employees and people to operate. So I don't know what those numbers are gonna be and how you're gonna take care of that.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a massive problem going on up there with that garage.
Yep.
And I don't know what you're gonna do with that thing.
right,
Well,
And
that's
I
the
get
plan for it.
really concerned, because, I mean, I'm not smart, but my opinion, the most important part of this whole town is the roads. If you don't have the roads, nothing moves. Fire trucks, ambulances, schools, all that budget is worthless. And without that highway, you're in trouble. And I don't see what your plan is to alleviate some of those problems, like your employees. How are you gonna get these employees back up?
Yeah.
And what's your number for, what do you feel your staff has to be for operators?
Mhm.
You got 1.5.
Yeah.
So basically, to justify it, that road grader needs to run almost daily. That road grader should be going, these roads are still in tough shape, got one guy.
Yep.
You see, one of these days you're gonna go up there and you ain't gonna find Peter. You're gonna go out in the yard and find a pile of dust, the only reason you're gonna know it's Peter is cause his vest is laying over the dust.
because what?
His vest is laying over his dust, you're gonna burn him up.
Oh,
But, so I don't know the plan. I mean, and I don't know what style of person you're looking for to put in there.
Yeah.
So my opinion of it is, you have no employees there that aren't capable of handling all kinds of machinery. They have to be machinery savvy. These guys gotta know how to run excavators, graders. You can't have one guy that's proficient in all of that and nobody else to back him up. And that's where you are.
well, Peter's been trying to get Tim working on the grader a little bit, but I think, what?
Never gonna happen.
Well, I think Tim does the other equipment. I don't know whether he's gonna do well on the grader, but.
When you lost the farms in Vermont, you lost your base.
What?
When you lost the farm communities in Vermont, that's where
Oh.
all your base came from, these guys
Yeah.
that grew up operating equipment, and that's where your base was.
Yeah.
And it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
But that is the direction that those guys have to be. They've got to be capable of operating equipment. And you look at some of the towns that, you know, like, there's one particular I watched, but they have 4 people operating, and every one of them guys, they wouldn't have hired them unless they were proficient with equipment. They can operate anything.
Yeah.
And you don't have that here. And there's a massive problem with the garage. I mean, so from this, I don't know, I understand what you're talking about with your budgets,
Yeah.
but when you're playing with that money or cutting it back, I'm not sure that's the direction.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I look at things that are, I don't feel should even be in the town operation. I mean, you got a brand new trailer up there that's not big enough to haul the weight of equipment you really should be hauling. A big trailer will haul something small, a small trailer won't haul something big. And it's my understanding, that's got electric brakes on it. You don't have a vehicle in this fleet that has an electric brake controller, so how are you gonna pull that trailer? I don't even know if that trailer's inspected.
The new one?
Yeah. I mean, how are you gonna inspect it if you can't hook up to it and run it?
Huh.
So why do you have a trailer you can't pull?
I think Larry brings up a good point about really taking a good look and planning year,
that-
2,
that
3,
needs-
4 years out and seeing, you
Yep.
know,
Yeah, you've
building
always
into this
suggested that.
budget, these plans for these expansions or operations, changes, you know, building maintenance, things like
I
that.
think that that needs to happen regardless of how we resolve
Yeah.
the fund balance. And that's kind of where I was thinking, we look at these things, we look at the numbers, and just in one thing versus the other, I know we were intending on making changes to the pay rate in order to try to make that things more attractive.
Mhm.
But with what am I trying to say? I guess what I was trying to say, I know when we look at these numbers and I see on here that you have suggested adjustments, you know, I think we need to be careful of not trying to make the number too low and end ourselves up in more trouble.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, yeah. That being said, kind of have the opportunity to move on to discussing the FY27 tax rate. You wanna get into that report?
That's this 19th.
Yes. Good to go?
Sure.
So I'll do a quick synopsis of where we're at now.
Yep.
In FY26, we believe that the tax rate was going to be, we estimated the tax rate at 0.974. Following the receipt of the preliminary grand list, the projected tax base reduced the projected rate to 0.963. And then there were adjustments made, known adjustments that were made to revenues and expenditures, and the projected tax rate still remained at 0.963. After our 7/21/26 meeting, compensation rates, personnel were discussed. We made adjustments to the HERF transfer and our Swenson reimbursement and diesel fuel. This brought our tax rate to 0.955. And so that's where that's where I was sitting at before I talked to Peter. Peter made a couple of suggestions to reduce item lines. I'll go through those quickly. There's a reduction to the rate item line of $2,000. It has been replaced, so we do not need that funding this year. The guardrail installation, Peter has no plan of implementing new guardrails anywhere in town this year. The stone item line could be reduced $2,000. The majority of the stone comes through grant funding, so we could minimize this item line if we choose to. Class 5 road maintenance, $4,000.
I don't understand, we don't have class 5 roads, so I think he's talking 4.
Class 4.
Yeah, okay.
My bad.
Okay,
wrong
I
number.
now see that that's 4,000, yeah, we don't
Yep.
always do that.
So Peter says they usually work on one a year, and the cost is majoritively manual labor and some gravel, so the cost is already embedded into our budget in those item lines. And then the culvert budget, Peter did agree that we could reduce it if we wanted to. So that would bring us down to a tax rate of 931. But as we had been discussing, I've got some additional thoughts. You know, like we had been discussing, I would be hesitant to reduce the tax rate too much. So we do have the ability to do so, but we should be particularly cautious this year. With a smaller financial cushion available, it's important to take the more conservative approach and account for potential unexpected costs when establishing the budget. So exactly, John, kind of what you were trying to hint
Yeah,
at.
like I can see that we've gone through and said, okay, we're not gonna need this, we're not gonna need that, but some of the things that we are gonna need, we're gonna go over.
Right.
Mhm,
And so that's my concern here, is like we can identify things that we're not going to do, but for everything that we're not going to do, there's
There's gonna be
probably
something
something that we are going to do that we aren't planning on as much as we need.
Mhm.
And that's my biggest concern.
Yep.
Like, well, I mean, I know we increased the diesel fuel, but I'm concerned we didn't increase it enough, and I'm concerned that there's other things that we're gonna run into that are gonna come up, and some of them might be, I mean, like, okay, $2,000 change is not gonna break something, but things that broke things are, you know, tens of thousands, not singles of thousands.
So before we get into looking at specific item lines,
Yep.
a couple things I do want to recommend, potentially changing or not reducing. We have budgeted for FY '27 $15,000 in delinquent tax revenue. Every single town that I've spoken to does not do this. I don't see a need for us to do it. It skews our tax, tax rate calculation. There's no guarantee that we're going to receive this money. It's the same reason why we got into the issue in FY '25, just
Yep.
on a much smaller scale.
Yep.
So I would recommend just not budgeting for that. I don't think it's necessary. The highway equipment reserve fund, we had discussed reducing that. I think it's a good idea to keep it at our original level. We're going to, it seems we're replacing equipment faster than we can fund it.
And even if we don't, it's going to be much more expensive than.
Yes, than what we anticipate. And then the last one, previously I had recommended using a insurance tax credit that we received in this fiscal year to offset the tax rate. I would recommend not doing that.
Yep.
What was that?
Not retaining the insurance tax credit to offset the tax rate.
Oh,
We have a claim pending for the garage,
yeah.
which could increase our rate significantly next year as well. So I'd say to play it on the safe side to not include that in
Yeah.
the reduction of our tax rate. So, from there, we can start looking at some item lines. If we want to get into specific tax rate calculating at this meeting, and if my computer works.
Didn't we do that already?
Say and do it some more.
Well, I think we've kind of come to the conclusion that, you know, we can reduce a whole bunch, but we also need to be focusing on what needs to be increased.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
really aren't supposed to increase the budget beyond what was approved.
So we're not increasing the budget. We would, as long as we're staying underneath that approved budget, then we're good. We're just essentially fielding out which item lines may require more to get to a final number that we need to levy for taxes.
So I'm not real clear on the exchange that you and Diana just had about
Okay.
her saying we can't increase the budget, and you saying we're not increasing it, we're, like, what is she referring to and what are you referring to? Because I feel like we're not quite speaking the same language here.
Yeah.
At least I'm not understanding it as the same language here.
Yep, so,
So something is set a limit, and that is what?
yep, on page 22, the limit, is under town meeting FY 2027 at the very bottom.
Yep.
This is the cumulative numbers that were in our articles that the town voted on.
Yep.
The total expenditures of $1,503,680.
Okay.
So what we actually need is the difference between our expenditures and our non-tax revenue. Right? So we have that wiggle room there, right? For the highway, we were approved to levy taxes up to $864,000. Right now, with reductions that we're making, we're looking at only raising $728,000. So
I see.
as long as we stay under that, that's good, right? And what we're doing here is the practice of looking at our budget, making quote unquote changes to see how much taxes we actually need to raise. We're not necessarily going in and saying, we're gonna raise $200,000 more, or, we're going to add, a new item line or a different item line. Two legal guidelines for us is we cannot raise above the approved tax amount in those articles, and we cannot add item lines or new appropriations.
Well, I don't know that I have specific opinions on the item line. I have a general, just sort of general observations, which you've already heard, which is just my concern that, like, there are some things that we perhaps can discard, but I'm really concerned that we don't just try to zero everything out, so to speak, because there's always going to be things that are higher. So maybe like we X out a couple of things, but also maybe that we bump up a couple of other things to look at the higher end of the range. That's just a general thought, not really a specific, we should do it here, we should do it there.
Okay, maybe we could take some more time and meet, when does Chris get back?
He'll be back the middle of next week, I think.
Maybe we,
Probably.
So
Try
he'll be
and
back
schedule
for the
some time.
second meet, for what?
maybe we try and schedule some time, give you guys some time to look at the budget, I'll reevaluate with Peter and see where we can go from there.
Yeah, Peter might have recommendations for things that could use a little more money.
Because our next meeting is the 10th, right? Yeah, the 10th, the 2nd, and Chris will probably be back mid next week, so we should like hit him up as soon as he, lands, right?
Yeah.
Sure, he'll love that.
The
Come
final,
That's what you get for going on vacation.
Yeah.
the final grand list should be ready next week sometime. He said the end of this week, the deadline for the grievances?
Yeah, I think the meetings for the grievances are Wednesday and Thursday evening
This week?
of this week. Yeah.
I'm gonna give this back to you, John, because Chris will probably want that.
So I'll send out an email next week to get a time on the books for everyone, and then we'll be good to go.
I think we should put a time on the books, and then then we have it if it works, and if it doesn't, then we can reschedule.
Okay.
Like the 7th or something. Is that the Friday? It'd have to be the Friday because the 8th is a
It
Saturday.
is a 7th, yeah, it's a Friday.
I don't know that we couldn't do it before the 6th. I wouldn't shoot before. We don't even know when Chris is back, right? Other than midweek. So midweek is anywhere from
Yeah, I
Tuesday
think
to
he
Thursday.
said- Yeah, I think he's,
Originally, he planned on leaving Wednesday and being gone for quote unquote 2 weeks, whatever that means. And then he ended up pushing the leave date back. I don't think he
Friday.
pushed. Yeah, I don't know that he pushed his return date back.
I
though.
think by one day.
Okay, so that means he's probably coming back. Who knows? He'll probably be back by Friday. Let's just go ahead and
Do Friday?
yeah, and then if he's not available, then tell him he can read his email, which he claimed that he would do, which we told him not to.
5:30 on Friday?
So,
I can do that.
so what is this? We're planning another special meeting?
Yeah, to see if we
Friday.
can, unless we want to do it on the 10th.
I think we should probably give ourselves as much time, especially because there's, kind of changing directions a little bit here. That's my 2 cents.
Changing directions?
Yeah, I think that, the viewpoint has always been reduce, 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 reduce. And after years of reducing, we're kind of in a position where we're like, we can't just reduce as
We're gonna end up
much.
costing ourselves more by
Yeah.
continuing the reduction.
So I'd say that's a little bit of a different viewpoint than we've had in the past.
And I would be interested, you said you were gonna talk to Peter about what are things that are iffy.
He already did.
Well, he went and chopped a bunch of stuff out, but did we talk to him with the idea of
What's gonna cost more?
which
The big-
of these things are marginal and could likely cost more?
Yeah, the big thing is personnel. Depending on who we get, what they need for benefits, that could skew everything. So,
See, you gotta remember that every time your taxes go up $1,000, that if a guy works in this town, lives in this town,
okay,
I think you just cost him $20 a week.
yeah.
So it kind of becomes a deterrent. You kind of, so the payroll sort of kind of has to kind of go with that.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, yeah.
I don't know where the reluctance is, because I don't think your numbers are that far off to other people. I think they figure, most of them, when they've done a study, figure $28 an hour is what they need to attract somebody. And I don't think you're that far off from that. So I don't know,
But I,
I don't know what all the distraction is, if I'm trying, I don't know I don't know what's other than the garage. I think that cripples you.
well, something like a garage, we might just have to bond for it, so we can ever figure out what to do or get a plan.
Well, I think we're starting that.
What?
I think we've been talking about starting up a plan of what that would look like.
Oh, yeah, a lot of,
And
yeah,
bond
I've
process
thought about
takes
it,
a year,
a
I
lot of
think.
talk.
But isn't there grants available for that garage?
What?
Isn't there grants that become available to do that garage? I mean, I've seen two of them do it, but
I don't know.
they seem to anyways.
I could ask that question of CVRPC if you'd like.
Please.
Okay.
Well, there was a one, I don't remember, I'll ask again what the name of that was, but I think that grant was 82% to build the garage. But it seemed like the more money you wanted, it was easier to grant, it was kind of weird, but that seemed to be the way it went.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen some wicked grants. I can't believe that they got them to do what they're doing. It's just like, I don't know how you get it, but they got it.
Gas
Anything
burning.
else on this?
So we're gonna meet on Friday, next week,
Yeah.
what's the date?
7th.
7th?
5:30 we said? Yep.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on.
Report, so are we good to move to the next
Oh, wait.
thing? Or is there
Were
something
you
else?
able to look into that Nichols dam?
Not yet.
Files?
Not
Okay.
yet. I mean, I've been doing some preliminary research, but,
Did you look at you looked at those files that were in the cabinet that I
not
showed you?
closely, not
Okay.
closely enough to give you
Okay,
a good.
okay, well, they're not back here yet, so, okay.
Okay, so buyouts. I did contact VM about whether they would consider the management of the abatement as payable under the grant, and they said that it would be. So, to me, that makes that question easy. We
Okay.
should just take them up on their offer to do that.
So the planning as well as the mitigation?
Yes. Now, so the bidding for the abatement, I'll need to go back to them in case we need to do budget adjustments on that. But the first thing was whether the, like we have on here, the Clay Point had offered to spec that out and RFP that. And that was the part that we were asking whether it would fall under that. And then once we get those back, then we have to take that back to make sure we didn't need to adjust the budget.
Okay,
So that's that.
okay.
So do we need a motion to do that? He hasn't
So-
responded with stuff you need to pay the invoice, right? I didn't see anything.
For,
For
there's
the
an
testing.
invoice for clay in,
Yeah, but-
yeah.
But he hasn't come back with a COI and whatnot. You said he did, right? Do we need that before?
Gonna
It's
be,
best practice to have it before.
Okay.
Did you find any asbestos?
Yes,
Which one?
both.
sorry.
The house, the main thing was vermiculite,
Yeah.
which was expected. And the fire station, there was like sill sealant. That was the only thing,
Yeah,
yeah, but that was the only thing found on the
stage.
station, yeah.
How much vermiculite?
I don't remember. There was the amount in there that was listed, but I don't remember.
That gets expensive.
Is it in the walls?
Have to be.
Yeah.
Don't assume.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, they had an amount in the,
What's the theory to have clay manage the asbestos removal?
say that again?
What's the reasoning or the thought behind having Clay Point manage the asbestos removal?
Yeah,
I'm just curious.
I
are there
think,
other options?
Well, there's only a handful of people that do it, so you go
Yeah.
and get a price and do it.
yeah,
Right,
I think the thing is it's expected to come in over the amount that we would have to go out there and put out for bid.
Yeah.
That's not really what your question is. The question is why would we have them administer it?
Because that's just another layer and another expense, basically,
Yeah,
and time consuming.
yeah. Well, it's time consuming for everything, and the question is who's got the time to do it.
right.
And
I was
that's,
surprised.
That's probably more of it. That's getting right down to the point is whether.
Normally it's put out, but I don't remember, there is a local guy that does it, that's pretty good at it, and then I don't remember who did the other one.
Maybe he'll bid on it.
Well, they just basically get contacted, they give you a price. I mean, you're gonna get down to a handful of people, and they're gonna,
Yeah, but we've got our stupid purchasing policy, and the grant people always insist that we go along with our policies and stuff. I was actually surprised at the small amount.
Well, I don't think it's a whole lot of work for someone who does the thing.
Right, exactly.
But
So.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
So,
So can I make a motion?
please.
I'd like to make a motion that we hire Clay Point to manage the bidding process for the asbestos remediation.
Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye?
John,
Yes.
is advertising reimbursable?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I put, 50% of the advertising cost for, because we did the winter sand bid and the RFP.
Yep.
So it's in there, and I can send it over to you
Yeah,
and see if
it
it's
should be.
doable or not.
Yep. Do we have bids?
Oh, we got bids. Oh. Yeah. Pick one.
Here, pin drop.
It's like the first time I made biscuits and gravy for my children. It was odd. All of a sudden, it got quiet. Like, what's going on? Oh, wait, everyone's eating. Even my daughter. She usually talks for 15 minutes before she eats her food. You want to trade and
Sure. Mine's short.
any thoughts, Diana?
They're very close.
Yeah. I have one thought. I didn't meet with this fellow,
Yeah.
so I can't say that I'm as confident in whether he knows what he's getting into. Which makes me a little leery.
So, let's see. How did we leave the part about the whole moving the water and electricity?
Well, they have to account for the interruption of the water to the
Post office.
post office.
Yeah, but as far as the transferring and putting a new, well pump station or whatever in the town hall and all that, is that
Well,
going to be
we
separate?
put it as an item on the on this sheet. So
Yeah.
if you look at those, it's on there as an item.
Oh, okay.
Now I don't know exactly how VEM's gonna.
Cost to relocate pressure tank and restore water to post office and town hall, okay. Cost for temporary toilet facilities.
So that one probably doesn't have it on it because that's probably the
Oh.
switch. Look
Yeah,
at
that's
the other
right,
one.
okay.
'Cause it has it.
Yeah, okay. Alright, well,
There's electricals in there too.
Yeah.
okay.
Now I'm assuming that's electrical. Is that from the panel? Or did yours include the panel to the back, or just from the back to the?
Everything that we priced it, so we included it in, so it would be in there.
All right. Oh yeah, because you asked for that. I told you what I was told.
Well,
Any other thoughts? Like I said, my biggest concern is with this one is that I didn't meet with this person.
so he did not do a site visit,
He
not
didn't
as far as you know?
coordinate one with me. I did meet with other individuals, one of whom said their scanner broke, so they wouldn't be sending in a bid.
Oh, darn. Too bad for
So
them.
that would be my concern with this one, and be a lot more comfortable with one who actually walked the space and had the discussions.
So what shall we do? Take a vote on it? Go with the low bid? What we usually do.
Well, technically, this is the low bid, and I'm,
Right, this
yeah,
71, 73?
yeah. So that would be, I mean, in this case, the lower bid corresponds with the one that I'm more comfortable with due to the person actually walking the area with me. So,
I guess I'll make a motion that we give this lucrative project to LG Furno Forest Products LLC.
any discussion?
I wouldn't call it a lucrative.
I was. It should be.
Actually, it's scary. The only thing I would suggest, I'm happy to do that, but I mean, there's references on there, and I would definitely talk to them.
Oh, check
Well, we're gonna be
references.
waiting on the abatement anyway before anyone can start tearing stuff down. So why don't we table it until next meeting, and
Okay.
I'll call some of them in the meantime.
Okay,
Well, you know, you get, I mean, you'll get some history.
Yeah. Make sure they don't tell me to run far, run fast.
you wanna do that part?
Yeah, I'll do
Sure,
it.
okay.
If you talk, I think your name's on there, but the one, the person that handles all the bull is Michelle, and she knows
Yeah.
all that stuff.
She's the select
You
board
wanna hang on to this,
assistant.
and I'll hang on to both
Okay.
of these in the meantime?
It would help you if you wanted
Mhm.
some information of some of how that works.
Yep.
They've done a lot of it.
Very good. So I'll do that, and we'll pick it back up next time. Do our due diligence before we continue on. And I'll reach out to them about, we still need the paperwork on the insurance and whatnot before we,
You just need an insurance certificate.
what's that?
You need an insurance certificate from us.
Well, but I was actually talking about, I kinda wanna hold Clay Point's payment hostage until they give us their stuff that they told us they would, so.
They get very, very busy, and they dance around a lot.
Yeah,
Did they do the asbestos inspection?
yes. You want a copy of it?
I need it when we get, when it all comes together, but
Do you wanna get on this? I don't really need it.
Here's a hard copy if you want.
well, it comes. It comes with,
I mean, I don't feel like it's any secret information or anything, so,
but you need this, you have to have this, but the important one is the abatement.
Yeah.
Without the abatement, you can't
Yeah.
ship nothing.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yep,
But there's all kinds of, a ton of paperwork and pictures and stuff that go with that to make it work. So we've done that we provide a book at the end when it's done, and it basically starts with this information, then it goes to the permits, and dig safe, and It's a state permit, and then it goes with the pictures of the high ground, and it goes through every phase of it, put a water in the sewer and all that stuff. Half the time, the people don't want it, and then you get a new person comes in and they want it. So if you have it all in the book, and you need it, you take it, you have it, that's all.
Okay, next item, now that we're holding to our schedule so well, personnel policy.
Oh my goodness. Personal
Yep,
policy.
should be up there. And if you just check on page 13, let's make sure that town meeting is not there still. I got rid of it, but let's make sure the right one printed.
What section was it under? The
Leave
leave without pay?
without pay, page 13.
I don't see any reference to town meeting starting with absolute leave of absence without pay. I don't see any reference.
Perfect.
Can we adopt this without Chris here? It's kind of, he was really,
I know, it's a shame to not let him.
well, I mean, he
vote on
can
it.
sign it.
Well,
he
you
can-
can't sign it if he's not here.
Well, he can when he gets back.
You leave a stamp.
Apparently not.
Maybe he'll just be happy to think of it as
I
a
think he
done deal.
probably would be. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the personnel policy version.
Does it have a
Well,
version number
No, I
on it?
don't, no, I don't. It's just,
Dated July 27th.
okay.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. I'll sign it. Sign it. Alright, updates and other business. Moving on. Status report on East Long Pond owners request, if any. This was the thing where they were wanting to see if we would potentially hold the money. Is that
Yeah,
what this
well,
was? Do we have
We're not,
anything there
you're
out
not
there
here,
yet?
so we don't have to deal with that.
Alright,
I can tell you, took a look at that area
Oh, yeah?
this weekend, and they have a spillway that was built a number of years ago, and all of the backfill, a lot of big rocks, is totally washed away. So the spillway part, which is basically now a unsupported cement wall of about 40 feet or so, is kind of bowed, and it looks kind of scary. So I can
What do you mean
understand.
bold, like it moved
Well,
or?
you would
made-
sort of expect a cement wall to be pretty much straight,
Yeah.
but now there's a couple spots where it sort of bends a little bit.
That's creepy.
Yeah, it is creepy. I was flabbergasted to
kinda
see
makes you
that.
wanna be downstream of that.
Well, our camp is at the mouth of the brook downstream from that,
Lovely.
but,
So it's Hardwick.
Oh, that all goes.
yeah,
towards
and it all goes to
Hardwick,
Hardwick.
yeah.
It all
Okay,
goes to Hardwick, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, and the other part that is really in sad shape is the actual dam is like huge granite chunks. It's been there, for over 100 years. There's trees growing up in it, but the sluiceway is built out of cement. And right at the moment, it's propped with these large beams, the granite blocks that sort of form the channel behind the sluiceway are starting to lean in. I mean, I've been aware of that for years now, but it's the spillway retaining wall that is to me, that is a serious, that's gonna go sometime soon
Lovely.
with the heavy water again. So it is a scary situation there.
So we don't have anything back from them yet,
No.
so.
Yeah, no, I just thought you'd like to know kind of what they're dealing
Yeah.
with.
Thank you.
So we can sign these off camera, I would assume, like we typically do.
Yep.
Anything else? For the good of the order?
Motion to adjourn.
Any discussion? Hearing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
You're adjourned at 8:18.